Mustafa Kemal Atatürk was born in 1881 in Salonika, a city that was part of the Ottoman Empire at the time, now Thessaloniki, Greece. His father, Ali Reza Efendi, was a customs officer and a small-time trader known for his support of modern ideas and contemporary education. His mother, Zubayd Hanım, was a devout woman dedicated to caring for her family. Mustafa Kemal's childhood was influenced by the contrasting influences of his father's modern outlook and his mother's traditional views. Initially, he attended a religious school at his mother's insistence, but his father preferred a modern education for him. Consequently, he was transferred to a modern secular primary school where he received a contemporary education. After his father's death when Mustafa was young, the family faced financial difficulties and moved to the countryside to live with relatives for a time. Later, they returned to Salonika, where Mustafa continued his education in local schools. His childhood was marked by the tension between traditional and modern education, shaping his thinking and pushing him towards adopting progressive and reformist ideas in the future. Ali Reza Efendi's belief in modern education had a significant impact on Mustafa Kemal's upbringing. His father sought to provide the best educational opportunities for his son and supported his intellectual and scientific development. This supportive environment from his father, combined with his mother's traditional influence, laid a strong foundation for Mustafa Kemal's future character. The early years of Mustafa Kemal's life were filled with challenges and diverse educational opportunities. Enrolling in the military school in Salonika at the age of 12 was a crucial turning point in his life. At this school, Mustafa Kemal excelled academically and demonstrated prowess in military studies, which later qualified him to join the military academy in Istanbul. During this period, Mustafa Kemal began developing his interests in politics and reform, influenced by the nationalist and reformist ideas spreading at the time. These formative years were critical in shaping his vision for Turkey's future, where he started to believe in the importance of modernization and westernization as a means to save the declining Ottoman Empire and achieve progress for the Turkish nation. During his time at college, his political views evolved, and he became distinctly anti-monarchist. Atatürk became politically active and involved in political movements, and shortly after he graduated, he was arrested for anti-monarchist behavior. He was released with the help of his former school director and sent to Damascus with the Fifth Army, where he received his first post as staff captain in the army. While there, Atatürk joined a society of reformist officers who opposed the Ottoman monarchy. By the late 19th century, the Ottoman Empire faced numerous internal and external challenges, including military defeats, economic crises, and increasing demands for independence from ethnic and religious minorities. Sultan Abdülhamid II ruled with an iron fist, abolishing the Constitution of 1876 and closing the parliament, which exacerbated the political and economic deterioration. In this context, the Young Turk movement began to gain momentum. The movement initially formed among students, military officers, and intellectuals studying or living in Europe, where they were influenced by Western liberal and nationalist ideas. Their primary demands included the restoration of the constitution, the reopening of the parliament, and comprehensive political and social reforms. In July 1908, the Young Turks led a successful revolution that forced Sultan Abdülhamid II to restore the constitution and reopen the parliament. The Sultan was deposed in 1909, and his brother, Mehmed V, was installed as a constitutional monarch. However, internal and external conflicts persisted, and the reforms were insufficient to save the empire from ongoing decline. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk was one of the prominent figures influenced by the Young Turk movement. As a young officer in the Ottoman army, Mustafa Kemal was impacted by the ideas of reform and modernization advocated by the movement. Although his role in the revolution was initially minor, the experiences and ideas he gained during this period formed the foundation of his future vision for modernizing Turkey. In 1911, he volunteered to take part in the Italo-Turkish War, where he served near Derna and Tobruk. Atatürk took part in many actions and became a seasoned veteran. He was wounded in combat, receiving shrapnel to his left eye. He recovered most of the vision. In 1912, Ataturk was appointed commander of the Turkish forces in the city of Derna, where he achieved considerable success, saving the city from repeated Italian assault until the end of the war, in which Italy achieved final victory. Without pause, Ataturk soon found himself fighting in the Balkans as an alliance of Balkan states entered into war with the Ottomans. After fighting 2 short wars in the Balkans, Ataturk was appointed to the position of military attaché to all Balkan states. World War I was a crucial period in the life of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, where he emerged as a brilliant military leader and strengthened his position as the future founder of modern Turkey. The Ottoman Empire entered World War I in 1914, siding with the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary, against the Allies, Britain, France, Russia, and others. One of Mustafa Kemal's most significant roles was during the Gallipoli campaign in 1915. He was appointed to command the 19th Division of the Ottoman Army in the Gallipoli Peninsula, where Ottoman forces faced the Allied forces attempting to seize the strategic Ottoman Straits. In April 1915, the Allies launched their offensive in Gallipoli with the goal of capturing Istanbul and opening a sea route to Russia. Mustafa Kemal assumed command of the Ottoman troops defending the strategic hills in the region. He managed to secure decisive victories in several battles, using clever tactics to repel the British and Anzac, Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, forces. Mustafa Kemal's role was particularly prominent during the Battle of Anzac Cove on April 25, 1915, where he successfully countered the Anzac forces' advance and prevented them from achieving their objectives. His famous orders, "I am not ordering you to attack, I am ordering you to die," showcased his determination and courage in leading his troops. Under his leadership, the Ottoman forces were able to thwart the Allies' attempts and inflict heavy losses, ultimately leading to their withdrawal in January 1916. After the Gallipoli campaign, Mustafa Kemal held other commanding positions on various fronts. He served on the Caucasus Front against the Russians and on the Palestinian and Syrian fronts against the British. In 1917, he was appointed commander of the Ottoman 7th Army in Palestine, where he faced British forces under General Edmund Allenby. Despite the Ottoman Empire's setbacks on these fronts, Mustafa Kemal proved his competence as an exceptional military leader. His experience during World War I helped solidify his reputation and fame as a skilled military strategist and tactician. This reputation was crucial in his subsequent political rise, as he became the leader of the Turkish national movement, which led the Turkish War of Independence against occupying forces after World War I. In 1919, Ataturk was tasked with reorganizing what was left of the Turkish army. The defeat of the First World War had been a significant blow to Turkey, and the country was occupied by Allied forces as a result. Instead of humbly carrying out his duties, Ataturk decided to spread insurrection in the face of occupying forces who wished to break up the Ottoman Empire, as well as cede parts of Turkey to neighboring countries. By spreading the Amasya Circular, which declared that the independence of Turkey was in danger, Ataturk organized an effective movement to combat the influence of the occupation and the Ottoman government. He resigned from the service of the Ottoman government, and a warrant for his arrest was issued. Ataturk, however, was in little danger. A number of top generals, officers, and parts of the military supported his movement and recognized him as their leader. Of critical importance was the support of General Kazim Karabekir, who commanded 18,000 troops. Forming the Association for Defense of Rights for Anatolia and Rumelia, Ataturk took the movement to the Ottoman parliament and won a sweeping majority in the elections of 1919. His message that the Sultan was effectively a prisoner of the Allied occupiers and that Turkey was in danger of losing all independence was popular, and he won widespread support throughout the nation. This move was seen as an extreme threat by the British occupiers, and under their authority, along with their puppet government in Istanbul, dissolved the Turkish parliament, but not before Ataturk had already established his own government and parliament called the Grand National Assembly, GNA, in Ankara. The empire effectively became ruled as a diarchy, with two competing governments claiming supreme authority. In June 1920, the Sultan signed the Treaty of Sèvres drawn up by the Allies. It greatly reduced the size of the Ottoman state, with the main beneficiary of the ceded lands being Greece. Armenia also achieved great gains in this treaty and was declared independent from the Ottoman state. With military aid from the newly created Soviet Union, Ataturk declared war on Greece and Armenia. The Allied forces negotiated their own withdrawal with Ataturk's government, leaving the Armenians completely unprotected. General Kazim Karabekir moved against Armenia, and by November 1920, their forces had been completely defeated. The war against Greece did not go as smoothly. They were on the offensive, marching towards Ankara, and had gained several strategic positions. The Turks, under the command of Mustafa İzmet and outnumbered 3-1, managed to halt the Greek advance at the First Battle of the İnönü on January 10, 1921. On March 27, the Greeks renewed their offensive, and İzmet beat them at İnönü for the second time. Despite the defeats, the Greeks pushed on and forced the Turks to fall back, forming new defensive lines near Ankara. The GNA, fearing defeat, demanded that Ataturk take complete control as commander-in-chief. After this development, from August to September 1921, he defeated the Greeks at the Battle of Sakarya, which represented a turning point in the war. A year later, the Turks were able to go on the offensive and push the Greeks all the way back to the coast of Izmir. With complete victory, Ataturk abolished the Sultanate. This forced the Allies to enter into negotiations with Ataturk and his government, resulting in the recognition of Turkey's territorial and legal integrity. On October 29, 1923, the Turkish Republic was proclaimed, with Mustafa Kemal Atatürk as its first president. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's first priority was the modernization of Turkey. He made great strides in bringing his country into the 20th century. He formed the Republican People's Party and began an aggressive campaign to create the Turkey he envisioned with his 6 Arrows plan, which focused on republicanism, nationalism, statism with nationalized industries, populism, secularism, and revolution. Turkey had been ruled as a caliphate since the 16th century, and one of Ataturk's first moves was to abolish the theocratic nature of the state. Along with the abolition of the caliphate, Ataturk did away with religious courts and even targeted Islamic conservatism that wasn't tied to the state. One such law was the banning of wearing the fez, a hat symbolic of Turkish culture and religion but seen by Ataturk as an obsolete remnant of the past. Instead of Islamic law, Turkey adopted a system based on German, Swiss, and French law. This strengthened another of Ataturk's goals, the emancipation of women. Despite the attention given to suffrage, it would be a decade later, in 1934, when women were given the right to vote for parliamentary members and the right to hold seats in parliament. Of all his reforms, one of the most noteworthy was the adoption of the Latin script to replace the Arabic script. Along with this change was a huge focus on education, and as a result, literacy rates climbed dramatically. Ataturk's foreign policy was progressive, and although his life had been forged in conflict and war, his policies were peaceful. He sought peaceful relations with all of Europe, especially Greece, a historic enemy of Turkey for thousands of years. Ataturk also focused on expanding educational opportunities for everyone, regardless of gender or social background. New schools were established nationwide, including primary and secondary schools. Specialized institutions for training teachers were created, and curricula were developed with an emphasis on science, technology, and critical thinking. Universities underwent significant reforms during Ataturk's tenure. Ankara University was established as the first secular university in Turkey, and existing universities were modernized to enhance scientific research and higher education. Many foreign scholars were invited to teach and develop academic programs, helping integrate Turkey into the global scientific community. Ataturk launched literacy campaigns to improve literacy rates across the country. These campaigns were particularly targeted at women and rural populations, contributing to the empowerment of women and increasing their participation in public life. Through these policies, Atatürk laid the foundations for a modern, inclusive educational system that plays a crucial role in building the modern Turkish state. His vision was based on the idea that education is key to development and progress, and that an educated nation is capable of facing challenges and building a better future. Atatürk's legacy in education is still evident today, as Turkey continues to develop its educational system based on the principles he established. Atatürk married Latif Usakligil in 1923, shortly after the establishment of the Republic of Turkey. Latif was an educated and modern woman from a wealthy family in Izmir, and their marriage symbolized the new, modern Turkey that Atatürk was striving to build. However, their marriage was short-lived, lasting only until 1925. The reasons for the divorce are not fully known, but it is believed that differences in personality and lifestyle, as well as the pressures of Atatürk's political life, played a role. Atatürk did not have any biological children, but he was deeply committed to the youth of Turkey. He adopted several children, including daughters Sabiha Gökçen, who became the world's first female combat pilot, and Afet İnan, who became a prominent historian. These adoptions were part of his broader vision of fostering a new generation that would embody the ideals of the modern, secular, and progressive Turkey he envisioned. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk played a significant role in laying the foundations for the modern Turkish economy through a series of reforms aimed at transforming Turkey from a traditional agrarian society into a modern industrial state. Upon taking power, Atatürk faced considerable economic challenges, including deteriorated infrastructure and weak economic growth. Through his economic vision, he implemented key policies to achieve economic stability and sustainable development. One of Atatürk's most important reforms was establishing a robust and stable financial system. He founded the Central Bank of Turkey in 1930 to ensure monetary stability and control inflation. This bank played a crucial role in regulating monetary policy and maintaining the stability of the Turkish currency. In terms of industry, Atatürk encouraged industrialization and the establishment of a strong industrial infrastructure. Many national industrial institutions were created, such as railway factories, armament factories, and textile mills. Additionally, the national airline, Turkish Airlines, and the National Oil Company were established to develop the transportation and energy sectors. In agriculture, Atatürk implemented reforms to enhance agricultural productivity and improve the lives of farmers. These reforms included land redistribution and providing financial and technical support to farmers. Agricultural banks were established to offer low-interest loans to farmers and encourage the use of modern agricultural techniques. Atatürk also promoted the development of technical and vocational education to equip the youth with the necessary skills to work in the new industrial and agricultural sectors. Many technical schools and vocational institutes were established for this purpose. Atatürk's economic policy was based on the principle of self-reliance and achieving self-sufficiency. Dependence on imports was reduced by encouraging local production and stimulating national industries. Foreign direct investment was also encouraged to support economic growth and attract advanced technology. Additionally, social reforms were implemented to improve working conditions and provide social protection for workers. Labor laws were enacted to regulate working hours, wages, and working conditions, and a social insurance system was established to support workers in cases of illness or unemployment. The economic policies implemented by Atatürk resulted in sustainable economic growth and improved living standards in Turkey. He established an economic system based on industrialization, modern agriculture, and stable financial services, paving the way for Turkey's transformation into a modern state with a diversified and strong economy. Atatürk had been suffering from health problems for several years prior to his death, primarily due to cirrhosis of the liver, which was exacerbated by his heavy consumption of alcohol. In the final months of his life, Atatürk's health deteriorated significantly. Doctors closely monitored his condition, and he received treatment at the Dolmabahce Palace in Istanbul, where he spent his last days. On the morning of November 10, 1938, Atatürk passed away at Dolmabahce Palace at 9:05 a.m. His death was met with profound sorrow across Turkey. A grand state funeral was held, attended by hundreds of thousands of Turkish citizens, as well as many international dignitaries. Initially, Atatürk's body was temporarily laid to rest at the Ethnography Museum in Ankara. His remains stayed there until his final resting place was constructed. On November 10, 1953, 15 years after his death, his body was moved to his mausoleum, known as Anıtkabir, in Ankara. Atatürk's death marked a significant moment in Turkish history. Despite his passing, his legacy continues to live on in modern Turkey. He is regarded as a symbol of rebirth and modernization, and his reforms laid the foundation for the contemporary Turkish state. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content.